Hello and welcome again to Chris's Caribbean Delights. And today we're going to be doing a decadent, very decadent and delicious bread pudding. I had these ends of bread that's left over from making a bunch of sandwiches the other day. So I'm going to use those ends of the bread, and I'm going to add some more bread into it. But first, I'm going to put it in the oven to dry it out a little more and let it get that nice, a nice crisp and dry consistency so that it can soak up all the custard that I'm going to put in there. So let's get the bread prepared, put it in the oven to toast it a little, and we'll be back. So here we are. I have the ends of the bread that I use for the sandwiches, and I diced some extra slices in there. I'm just using regular bread. You can use any bread. This is the regular white bread from the store. The perfect bread for this is a brioche, a nice rich brioche. But I don't have a brioche, and I'm not about to make one right now just to do this thing. I want to use this up. So I'm going to put this in the oven at about 300 and let it toast up and get nice and dry so that it can soak up that rich custard that I'm going to make to put in to mix into the bread pudding. Now, so let's get this in the oven, and in the meantime we can go to the next step, which would be making the custard. So for the custard, I have here 2 cups of whole milk, and to that we'll add half a cup of sugar. And we're going to scald it, not really boil it, but we're going to scald it. I need a half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to put some butter in here, about 2 tablespoons of butter. Let's get it all in there. Some vanilla, and we also add a little bit of nutmeg, grated nutmeg, just to give it an extra kick. So I'm going to let this sit and come to a boil, come to a simmer, and once it starts that simmer, we're going to watch it carefully and don't let it go over, and you just get a whisk and just to stir everything. Make sure the sugar is all stirred in. And you keep stirring it just until the sugar is melted and the butter is melted, and you see some little movement on the edge of the pan there. Then you know it's coming to a simmer, and you got to keep an eye on it. So we'll just do that, and we'll be back once it starts to simmer. So it's right at that simmer point here. Where it's just starting to bubble up a little. And we remove it from the fire. And you let it cool for a while before adding the eggs, because we'll add 4 eggs in here, and you don't want it to scramble. So we have to let this cool for a little bit at least, make it warm, and then we'll add our eggs. So we'll be back. Okay, now that my custard is down to a nice warm but not too hot temperature, I'll be adding the eggs in, and I'll whip this up. Add it a little at a time and keep whipping. all in there. You can also temper the eggs, like by adding a couple of tablespoons of the warm liquid into the eggs, and whip the eggs so that eggs can get a little warm, and then before you add the bulk of the eggs into the mixture. I reserved about a half a cup of the mixture because once we soak the bread in there, we can top it off with a little more of the liquid. So we just get our bread and we'll prepare it and get it soaked into this delicious custard. So here I have a greased pan. What I planned to do is to put some whole pieces in the bottom, just to give it a little body. And then you can even break these up a little more if you want. I dried them out in the oven. They're nice and dry, so they'll be soaking up all this beautiful custard, all this delicious and decadent custard that I'm making. And if you have excess bread left over, just put it back in the thing, and you can make some croutons. Just dry it out a little more, put some olive oil and season it, and you can use it as croutons in your salads. So we just get as much as possible in here. Make sure every nook and cranny, sorry about that. Just make sure that every space is filled with pieces of bread. Okay, now we'll just pour our liquid in here. Just pour it all over. Just make sure that every corner gets some liquid. And we're going to press this in. Perfect. We'll come in with our clean hands here, and we'll just press, just to make sure that everything's get to the bottom, and the sauce, not the sauce, the custard is just getting into every piece of this bread, that to make it as decadent and delicious as it really should be. So once we press that in there, so there's liquid in the bottom there, and we press that in there, it's going to suck up all of that, and then the top, the rest of the custard that I reserved, I'll just pour that on top of here, so that the breads on top would also be soaked. Okay, so what we'll do here now is we're going to leave this for about 10 to 15 minutes and just let it absorb and soak up all that goodness before we put it into the oven. Now that the bread has absorbed all of the custard, we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for about 40 to 45 minutes. Now, whilst the pudding is in the oven, we're going to scald some milk, 2 cups of milk. We're going to scald that milk because we're going to make a sauce to go with this bread pudding. And we're going to scald this milk, and then we're going to add some flour to. We're going to add some flour into another pot, and butter, flour, butter, and make a nice roux, and we'll go from there. I'll be back once the milk is scalded. So over medium to low heat, we're melting the butter. This is for the sauce that we're going to use. We're going to put over the bread pudding once it's done. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. Whisk that flour in there. Just whisk it in, and you'll cook this for about a minute and a half. So now I add the scalded milk to the flour mixture, the flour and butter mixture, and you gotta continue whisking. Continue whisking here to make sure you get everything off the bottom of the pot, and just continue whisking. Add your brown sugar. This is a nice dark brown sugar. It gives it another depth of sweetness. Half a cup of brown sugar. 2 tablespoons of vanilla. We're going to let this cook and thicken up, because we're going to add some alcohol in there eventually. So I'm going to let this cook and thicken up, and I'll be back. And now you can see it's thickening up nicely here. See if we need another set of flavor in there. To put a little bit of nutmeg. In order to carry through the same flavors from the bread pudding, we'll just do a little bit of nutmeg and a little bit of clove, so that the flavor can just follow through. And you can make this sauce ahead of time before your bread pudding, and store it, and then you can reheat it when you're ready to use it. Sauce also goes very good with ice cream. And then when you know your sauce is ready, if you put a spoon in there and it coats the back of the spoon thickly like that, you know your sauce is ready. It's done. Once you pull it out and it coats the back of the spoon, your sauce is ready. So you pull this off the fire, continue stirring, and I'm adding some white liquor. I'm adding some bourbon. It would be fine. Rum is excellent to put in here, but I don't have either of those, so I'm using vodka. But you just want that. The alcohol is going to dissipate anyway, so and you'll have a nice smooth tasting sauce here. You just stir that in, and let's see. Awesome. That's the consistency we're looking for. Guess we can just whisk it a little more. Whisk. So here's the finished product. Here is my my bread pudding, my delicious decadent bread pudding. And once it comes out of the oven, you can pour some of the sauce on it, because the top is going to be a little dry, but just pour some of the sauce on it, and it's going to absorb that sauce. Just let it absorb that sauce, this decadent sauce that you made. Then we'll just let it, oops. Yeah, we just let it absorb and soak in there, and then this will. So here we go, guys. This is my finished bread pudding, and I'm going to just cut into it, cut a slice here, and we'll see what it looks like and what it tastes like. Better for me to get a better spatula, right? So here we go. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Awesome. Awesome. And at this point, you can either add some more sauce to it, or if you think you have enough sauce, just leave it alone. Okay, just a little more on there. Oh, you can taste that vodka. So, here we go. A decadent, delicious bread pudding. Cheers. A decadent and delicious bread pudding. Oh my goodness. Just take a taste test. Ooh. It's nice and warm. It's delicious. All those notes are here. And from the sauce that's poured on top, that little alcoholic note, that vodka note. Or you can do rum. But it's awesome. Ooh. Once again, another successful recipe. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next clip.